The Naples Pier. Built in 1888 as a freight dock, it has since become one of the city's most popular landmarks and fishing locales. But not all the fishermen are human.
Oh my goodness.
An entire host of water birds frequent this smorgasbord, both great and small. Though perhaps the greatest of all is the brown pelican. Free as the food may seem to these birds, however, most are unaware of the danger lurking inside of some of these morsels. Disgruntled as fishermen may be at having their catch go to the birds, as it were, it's easy to understand the temptation. A quick snap of the line wards away a curious scavenger, but only for a moment. Sometimes it's a narrow miss, but in the end, it's only a matter of time. A special net designed to capture the snared bird is retrieved.
Yeah, I know.
But the pelican is in a panic.
Yeah, he's jumping. Be careful. Yeah, thank you.
Fortunately, the fishermen are able to bring it up onto the deck, where they can remove the hook and release it, hopefully having learned a valuable lesson. Not all birds are so lucky. Some that sustain more significant injuries are taken here, to the Arx Wildlife Hospital at the Conservancy of Southwest Florida.
My name is Joanna Fitzgerald. I'm the director of the Arx Wildlife Rehab Hospital. When they first come in, they're in the hospital facility, and many of them have lacerations, they have wounds, some of them have needed surgery because they've ingested fishing hooks and fishing line. So it depends on their level of injury, how much is involved with their rehab process, but the majority spend at least probably about 2 weeks in the hospital before they're even moved outdoors here to the recovery pool. Basically, when they're in the hospital, along with the wound treatment, they also are probably getting electrolytes, antibiotics, laser therapy, many different types of medical procedures to help them heal and gain strength so they can move out to the shorebird pool. Most of them are shorebirds that are commonly seen along the beaches where people are. We have pelicans and cormorants out here right now. Of all the birds out here, only 2 pelicans are permanent residents who are living their life out here, as well as 2 cormorants. So all the others out here are rehabilitating, and this is the final stage of the rehab process before they're released. Most of them have come in because they've been injured by fishing line and fishing hook injuries. Some have been here for other reasons, especially the cormorants. They can also be affected by red tide, but the majority of the brown pelicans are here because of fishing line and fishing hook injuries. This is the high season for pelicans. We've had other years that have been much worse, but this is a high season for us. Usually it's November through May is the worst time for the pelicans, so it's almost half of the year that these birds are kind of getting into trouble and needing extensive care. It coincides with winter, and it coincides with a lot of the people coming down from northern states who might be unfamiliar with our fishing practices and pelicans, and you know, kind of how to responsibly and carefully fish when you've got so much wildlife right next to you. Literally, if you're on the pier, the birds are right there next to you. So trying to learn what they can before they actually head out and participate in the angling activities would possibly reduce some of the injuries we see. The main thing is if you are out and you're fishing, always look before you cast and make sure there aren't any birds flying by or in the area. Many of these birds have become habituated to people because people give them handouts, they give them scraps and things. So, you know, first and foremost, never feed wildlife. It can only cause problems. So trying to break that cycle of these birds getting used to handouts from people is the first step. Also being careful when you hook a bird. If you do accidentally hook a bird, don't cut the line and let them fly away, because that just compounds the severity of the injury and the damage by the time they may arrive at the hospital. If they don't, they can get caught up in trees and hang and die, you know, so cutting the line is not the answer to relieving the suffering for the bird. They're going to sit out there and suffer if they don't come to the hospital and get the hook removed properly. This one is an example of what you'll see at a lot of the marinas and the boat ramp areas where you can put your boats in. It's to put in any excess monofilament line. This stuff does not degrade in the environment. It will take years and years and years and years. The hooks, most of them are made of stainless steel, so they aren't going to just rust either. So these are all over to encourage fishermen to put their excess line into these so it keeps it out of the environment.